get asked a lot of questions about solar systems and how they work and such. So why don't we go through a few. There are two ways to mount solar modules. One would be on a fixed mount that does not move, and one would be on a tracking mount. And maybe you've seen these there on poles or a ground mount, and they shift and follow the sun through the day. For large utility size systems, it makes sense. For the small home system, business system, it usually doesn't make sense. The cost you put into a tracker or the tracking equipment really doesn't pay you back like just adding a few more modules. Plus you have moving parts again. One of the beauties of solar photovoltaics is no moving parts. So if we can maintain that and lock those modules down on your roof or in a mount structure, we don't have to worry about them. So low maintenance is what we're going for. Since we have such a low maintenance product, let's work with that. Another common question we get is, what about snow and solar panels? So the bottom line on snow and ice on our modules is the time of the year that we get the big snows and the precip, November through February, are very low production months when it comes to solar. Really, our solar, when we're on a net meter grid-tied system, it's all about spring, summer, fall. And we can make that power during those months and save it for wintertime use. So we're not really concerned about those panels being snowed in the depth of winter. Our days are so short, we have lots of clouds and precip, so it's not that big of a concern. So as far as removing snow, I'd say don't worry about it. They are also dark colored, so they do, when the sun comes out, they do clear themselves. Maintenance. What is the maintenance required once we get a system installed on your home or your business? Well, the beauty of the solar photovoltaic systems is there's practically none. The modules themselves are washed by the rain, by the snow. If we have a very, very dusty period of time, pollen, you can always take a high pressure hose and squirt the panels off. There's no way that electricity could come out and hurt you or anything. Just keeping the modules clean, but most folks just let nature do that. The inverter is solid state, there's very few moving parts in that. The modules, no moving parts. So I guess the one thing that we would say on maintenance is make sure your system's on. Sometimes kids will go and throw a switch off on the outside of the house, which is there for emergency responders to be able to turn your system off if they had to come to your home. Sometimes those switches get turned off. So just look at your inverter every month or so and make sure it's perking away. Another good question is, do we have enough sunlight in Montana to make solar photovoltaics work? And the answer is absolutely. The values of the sun here, if we look, the engineering number we use is equivalent full sun hours. Phoenix has equivalent full sun hours of 6.5. Where are we in Missoula, Montana? Right in the middle of western Montana, 4.5. So you can see we're pretty good shape, and we're the same value as a good part of the continental United States. So it's very, very viable. And actually, solar modules work better when it's cooler. So we all know we have some advantages there. Bright winter day with light reflecting off the snow, you can see more than 100% production from your solar modules because you get reflectivity. It's like having mirrors sitting around them. So no problem with modules, solar systems in Montana. So another good question. Well, if we had put solar modules on my roof, are we not going to just create a bunch of holes in your roof that water could enter? Well, I want to say yes, we do put a lot of holes in your roof, but we're very careful about it. We have flashing sheets that are 12 by 12 inches and mastics that are guaranteed and warranted not to leak. We would kill our whole industry if we went around putting leaks in people's roofs. And you don't hear about it because it's not a problem. It's a great question to answer. But still, we'll have people that say, you know, I'd rather not have modules on my roof because I like the looks of it, so then we go with a ground mount. But when it comes to leaking, it's just not an issue. That's where we live. That's part of the NABCEP certification process, that we are on top of that. And we just don't have an issue there. People have asked and said, well, what happens to my extra power that I make when the solar system is running and it's powering my house, but now I'm sending it back into the grid? Will I get reimbursed for that? And the answer is yes. That's what net metering is about. The meter on your house records bidirectionally, so it measures how much power is going back out, you're exporting, and how much power is coming in, or you're importing or using in your home. The trick here is that when we size your system, we want to look at your electrical loads. So we only do 99% or less of how much power you use. If we would design a system for you that had more generating capacity over a year's time than you use of power in a year's time, that's where the utility company will take that power and not reimburse you. So our job is to design a system that puts out as much power as you use, and we can negate your power bill that direction, and yet we don't want to go over. If we go over, then the power company just takes those electrons, they go out of your place and go over to your neighbor's house, and the power company gets to charge for your generated electrons. So we don't want to do that very much. Very easy to do, and that's a part of our initial system design, is that we look at your power bill. That's my first question to you, is send me your power bill. Then we can see exactly how much juice you're using, and we go from there. It's not like we have to do 99%. We can do 50%. Right? We can do whatever percentage of your load you're comfortable with. That's a dollars and cents question answer. So you're looking for solar for your home. A couple of questions that come up are, how developed is this technology? Am I buying the first VCR or BlackBerry phone? Well, absolutely not. We've been working with photovoltaics for 32 years. And we've seen a huge increase in the amount of power they put out. We started with 33 watt modules. We're now using 350 watt modules. The industry has developed so well. We have incredible reliability, 25-year warranties on our product. So we're far from any kind of beta testing. Same with the inverters. And so we do have great inverters that are just 98% efficient with the power they handle. Pretty incredible. There is also the 30% federal tax credit is still in play. Until 2019, you can take 30% off the total cost of the system. So we give you the cost for everything, all the details, everything's included, and you take 30% off of that. We also have a state tax credit of $500 per taxpayer. So a couple can get $1,000 off their system. So those two are here and actively used, and they're a great way to reduce the cost of your system. The typical system that we do for residential is a roof-mounted system. Why? Because it's less expensive. We already are using the structure of your home. We don't have to go create a ground mount, which we can always do. Ground mount system, we have to use some steel, some concrete, excavation and such. It's not a big deal. But if we can stay on the roof, we're cheaper, we're up higher. Usually we're out of more shade issues, and we can make it work. So where we start is with the power bill. And here's an example of a power bill from Northwestern Energy. And the bar graph on the upper left shows how many kilowatt hours you use on a monthly basis. And we take that data, add that up to look at how much you use over a year's time. And that is the number we design with. So we know how many kilowatt hours you use over a year, and that's how many kilowatt hours a year that we're shooting for to the power with the size of the system. So get us a copy of your power bill, and we can give you a really close idea how much a system would cost for you. You can get us at sbslink.com or give me a call.